should turn this on. All right, it is 7 p.m., so we're going to call to order the regular Housing and Redevelopment Authority meeting. This is February 20th, and first item is approval of the minutes from the January 16th, 2018 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments, corrections, or changes? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We've approved the minutes. All right. Next, we have the 2017 HRA EDA Year in Review. Mr. Stark, did you want to introduce this?
I believe this is going to be a team approach with Assistant CD Director Melissa Pellman, Housing Manager Julie Urban, and Housing Specialist Kate Aitchison, each taking a part. So I'm looking forward to the show.
All right, thank you, commissioners. Yes, like John said, we're gonna tag team it here with our 2017 year in review. Maybe AV can pull up the slideshow for us. I'm gonna start out with the larger redevelopment projects throughout the city and then toss it to Julie and Kate for some of our lesser known or lesser celebrated programs. So I'm gonna start, I think, there we go. How do I move this? No,
Down.
I did. Okay. Thank you. All right. That was a good start. Starting at the northeast side of town, I'm going to start with the Cedar Corridor development. You'll see there's a lot of activity going on here. I'll start with Cedar Point Commons, which, as many of you know, was the first developments that happened here were in 2004, starting out with the Home Depot and Target projects. Then, obviously, the recession hit. Things halted over there. Phase 2 is being completed now. 2 new retail buildings were completed this summer, offering our public works folks a number of new casual eating restaurants on that side of town. Five Guys, Cafe Zupas, Panda Express. This summer, we're hoping to finish out this development with the Primrose Daycare, which was which was approved this last year. That will be constructed just to the north of the Panda Express building. It's a Primrose preschool. It'll serve up to 180 children. And like I said, this will finally be complete after over 10 years. Moving to the southwest corner of the roundabout is the Plaza 66 development. That one is under construction right now. Interstate Partners purchased 2 remnant parcels and a single-family property from the HRA, in addition to 3 privately owned single-family homes. They removed those homes on this in this area that had been designated for commercial development for over 50 years and are in the process of constructing another multi-tenant retail development there. The tenants are going to include a Caribou Einstein concept, Jersey Mike's, Orange Theory Fitness, and a Taqueria La Hacienda restaurant. That's expected to open this summer. Moving to the east is the Chamberlain development, which I'm sure you are all familiar with. That one's very fresh in our minds. That will include 283 new apartments and then the rehabilitation of 3 existing apartment buildings that you can see on this slide. There are 11 units in each of those buildings, and all 33 of those will be rehabbed. I guess I should be moving through my slides. Here's the Cedar Point Commons retail development. You'll see Cafe Zupas there, and Five Guys on the other end. Here is an elevation of the Primrose. So that site plan on the bottom is turned. If you're looking at it, you're actually looking east. East is to the top. So the development with the Panda Express is to the right on that slide. This is the Plaza 66 development. The Caribou Einstein is on the left-hand side of your slide with the drive-through. That one is under construction now, expected to finish soon. And here is the Chamberlain development. In addition to constructing these 3 new buildings, there'll also be a 2-block section of Richfield Parkway constructed. That is expected to begin this spring. It's a multi-year project, finishing up hopefully in 2019. And there's an elevation. This is looking to the south from the roundabout. That's that northernmost building, the one that is L-shaped. So moving across town, this is the north half of the former city garage site. This development is called Havenwood now. It's a senior project. It's well underway. Here are some construction photos. This building will include 88 units of senior living. It's 58 assisted living units and 30 memory care. Okay, and then moving north along Lyndale Avenue, there's the Lyndale Gardens project. This site was originally purchased, as you'll remember, by the Cornerstone Group in 2011. Lakewinds opened in 2014, and the Cornerstone Group continues to try to redevelop the north half of that site. This past summer, a number of the public improvements were completed. There's the performance stage, some interactive art, and then the Cornerstone Group hosted a very successful series of public events, music events, art events, and they plan to do the same this summer. Right now, the Cornerstone Group's proposal for a portion of the site that's left to redevelop includes 30 to 34 townhome condominiums. These are some preliminary drawings. And on the drawing on the top left, you can see kind of a placeholder for the site that would be left. Cornerstone Group is working with an apartment developer to develop that. That is still in the preliminary stages. But hoping to see something before you this summer on that. And I'm going to turn it over to Julie. Continue with Cedar Point 2. Yeah.
So back to the east side in the Cedar Point 2 housing area, as you know, across from Target and Home Depot. And back in May, unfortunately, the pre-development agreement we had with Boisclair expired. So staff spent the summer and the fall meeting with other developers and doing a market study for the area. And then we ended up back in the fall, before you, just at the end of the year, with Boisclair. They had added a development partner, a project manager, and had some new ideas for phasing the project and filling the finance gap. And so we look forward to success stories to report in next year's annual report when it comes to Cedar Point 2. And we felt it was important at this point to point out that this is actually the Economic Development Authority year in review also, because back in May, the City Council established an Economic Development Authority. And since some of the programs we're about to highlight are now going to be funded under this beginning this year, we thought it was a highlight to point out. So this is, as you know, going to provide a mechanism for us to levy additional funds to help finance our transformation loan program and our Kids at Home program. And then it also offers an opportunity to start new programs, apartment remodeling, as well as some business development. So the EDA went into effect January 1st of this year. So I'll turn it over to Kate now to talk about our housing. As you know, it's sort of our bread and butter of our community, as well as the work that you do and fund. And we have a variety of programs to help maintain and improve our housing stock and to create a greater diversity of housing options in our community. And so the HRA has developed many innovative programs over the years to address those needs. And I'll just quickly show you, before Kate takes over, this chart to talk about. It shows visually how we gear our programs across the spectrum of affordability, and that we both target home ownership as well as rental housing. But I'll let Kate take over with home ownership.
So many of our programs are aimed at helping homeowners maintain their homes, as well as provide new opportunities, more variety of housing in our community. Our informal goal is to help people stay here if they want to stay in the community, to help make their homes work for them, or to find a new home that will work. Richfield Rediscovered is our new construction program aimed at building new market rate homes in Richfield. In 2017, we had 3 lots reserved for new construction at the end of the year, which I'm sure you remember. We had 1 home completed in the program as well. And we have 1 lot available still. It's kind of tied up in some legal issues, but we're waiting to demolish it. Hopefully we'll have the clear to do that soon, and then we'll have 1 lot available for sale through this program. This is a picture of 6836 Irving, which was completed this year through our Richfield Rediscovered credit program. The end value was $378,000, and the city contributed a $50,000 credit towards that at the end. It was developed by Endress Custom Homes, whom you're familiar with.
Kate, can I just make a comment about this house?
Yeah.
When we had our nights out back in August, I'd stopped on 69th and Irving, I think.
Mhm.
And I met a young couple that had 2 kids that were living on that block, and they are in this house now. It was their 3rd house. They've lived in Richfield. They came to a small house, started having children, bought this, and then worked with Enders and built this one. And I thought, talk about a success story. You know, they move here, get their starter home, and they end up in this home, and they couldn't be happier. I mean, it was really kind of a neat story. So I just wanted to mention that in regards to this home.
That's great. We hear from a lot of people that use our programs and want to stay in Richfield.
Yeah.
This is a rendering of the 3 homes that were approved for Enders Custom Homes at the end of 2017. You had another application last month, and you'll hear another one later tonight. This is the model that was approved. With our new construction, we also have another mechanism of doing it to try and ensure that these new homes can be affordable and can be available to people at an affordable level. And that's done through the new home program. With the changing market, we're shifting the focus of that program to also do acquisition and rehab. So buying Richfield homes that need some work, putting money into rehabbing them, and then selling them to people at an affordable level. So it's income capped. And then we work with nonprofit partners to sell those homes. Since 1990, 41 homes have been built or rehabbed through this program, so it's been very long-standing and successful. This is a list of the programs that have fallen under this program: Stevens, Portland, Penn, and then also Sheridan Villas, which you've seen in past years. That was also done through this program. This is a photo of Stevens Avenue. So Stevens was purchased by the Greater Metropolitan Housing Corporation for us at the end of 2016. They purchased it for $152,000, and they were able to sell it. The end value was $240,000 after the repairs were completed. They used the Homes Within Reach Land Trust. They worked with them to sell it to the end buyer. And the way the land trust works is the land trust covers the value of the land that the property is on, and then the end buyer gets a mortgage for the value of the home, and they're leased back the land. So in this case, the end buyer paid $164,000 for the home, and then they're leasing the land from the land trust. It's a way to keep it affordable, and we always try and work with the land trust with these projects. This is 6800 Portland, which is just on the other side of the fire department. We recently bought that also with the Greater Metropolitan Housing Corporation, and renovations are underway there. The end value of that would be about $225,000. And then a third that we have on that we've recently purchased, 7208 Penn Avenue. It's a slab-on-grade home that as well will be rehabbed this year. $215,000 is the estimated end point for that. The Transformation Loan Program is our loan for large-scale renovations. Projects have to be $50,000 or more in value to qualify for the program, and then we give 15% of the project cost. It's a no-interest, no-payment loan. They pay us back when they sell their home, or if 30 years from the date of the loan they're still in the house, it's forgiven. The projects go up to, we've seen as high as $215,000, but our loan cap's at $25,000, so that's the maximum loan. In 2017, 5 loans were approved, 6 were completed, so we completed all the 5 that were approved, and then 1 existing from 2016 was finished in 2017. And now in 2018, the program got transferred to the EDA, and so they'll be kind of overseeing that Total amounts in 2017, our loans totaled $92,225, leveraging, though, over $870,000 in value. We saw a lot of big projects, and I'll show you a couple pictures. So one was 6408 Vincent, which was condoizing the Richfield Rambler. This was on the home tour, so maybe you saw it there. Full loan amount, $25,000. It was an architect-led project. Turned out really nice. 6709 Emerson was also on the home tour. This was kind of a whole home remodel, especially the kitchen. She made a lot of really smart choices and really maximized her loan. Her loan was $20,000. The total project cost was $135,000. This is a neat project, 7214 10th. They took the Richfield breezeway and transformed it into a kitchen remodel. They used a little bit of a bump out addition on the back to kind of complete this space. And it was an $88,000 project. Our loan, $13,200. 7333 Russell, also on the home tour this last year. Big project, adding an addition for more family space, kitchen remodel, bathroom updates, the whole kit and caboodle. Project was $170,000, which was a maximum loan of $25,000. This is a home that backs up on Wood Lake Nature Center, 7233 Emerson. It's got a very unique floor plan and layout for Richfield homes, and they used their loan to really identify the entrance to the home. It was kind of one where you weren't sure where you would go into the house. They did a beautiful kitchen remodel, bathrooms as well. Hopefully they'll be on the home tour next year. This was another maximum loan. And then finally, we had $4,000 left in our budget, and we ran into these people as they were preparing to start their project, and they were willing to take a remnant loan. So their loan was $4,000, even though their project cost was over $200,000. And they did an addition, big entertaining space in the basement, nice kitchen, master bedroom, master bath. And I'm going to turn it back over to Julie.
So I'll move on to the fewer pretty pictures, but very important programs for what we offer. The Community Development Block Grant Program, as you know, are federal funds, and while they're given to the city turns around and gives it to you folks to run programs for the most part. So the city received just under $245,000 through this program for federal fiscal year 2017. And it was primarily dedicated to these two HRA programs. $101,000 went to Hennepin County, who administers our deferred loan program for us, which I'll talk about in just a minute. And then $108,000 was budgeted to acquire and rehab 2 single-family homes, which Kate just talked about. I do want to point out that, and we mentioned this at council last week too, but that for the last 2 years now, the president's budget has recommended $0 for this program. So we hope that Congress funds it anyway, but I think it's just something to be aware of because we do a lot of important things with these funds, and I hate to have to think of us facing the challenge of how do we continue these programs without these funds, but just to be aware that that's going on. So our deferred loan program has been around since 1984, and these are loans for health, safety, or maintenance improvements targeted towards our low-income homeowners. So in 2017, 2 projects were completed, 3 projects started. There are 17 households on the waiting list. Something that I do want to point out is that this is a loan that you repay when you sell your home, or it's forgiven after 30 years. And we have had several forgiven, but people have been also selling and repaying this loan. And we received over $200,000 in repayments in 2017. And that's a big number. We normally, 100 was big before. 70 is maybe about an average. So it's exciting to be able to put that back into the program and to start addressing those folks who are on the waiting list. So yeah, we'll talk in a little bit about our loan portfolio, but it's just an example of how having that portfolio helps recycle the funds back into our community. And I'll just say that, you know, this helps our low-income homeowners, but it's also important for maintaining our housing stock. It's aging, and it pays for important things like roofs and siding and windows and bathrooms that are not safe any longer. And it also goes for emergency things like sewer backups. And, if you're on a fixed income, how do you pay for that? And you have to pay for it right away, or they won't fix it. So it's really an important program. I'm going to talk about that. So the Housing Resource Center, for 10 years, we've contracted with this organization to provide our remodeling consultation services and also to administer loans for us, including our fix-up loan, which is an important resource for folks making improvements. The Housing Resource Centers closed this summer. So we had to make some adjustments. They did forewarn us that it might be coming, but we were a little surprised that it actually came to happen. But so while for the time that they were open, they did provide 136 services to our residents, and that included 20 remodeling advising visits, as well as 9 fix-up loans. And that fix-up loan, we do see as an important part of what we do, because it does allow, it serves households who earn up to $104,000, and so more than our deferred loan folks, but it's still difficult to remodel your kitchen and make expensive home improvements without that extra help. And we're able to offer that loan at 3%, which is a really good rate. So then in August, we contracted with the Center for Energy and Environment to begin offering those same services. And so they are now our remodeling advisor. Offices out of CEE, and they also administer the fix-up loan. So from October to December, they participated in the home tour, and so immediately were hit with lots of requests for remodeling visits. So they did 16 visits, as well as one of the fix-up loans. The other thing that the Center for Energy and Environment does for us is Home Energy Squad enhanced visits, and these are energy visits to households, and they come out to your home and analyze your home for energy efficiency and make recommendations for what you might do to lower your utility bills. And so it's an important program we see for lowering energy bills, for saving energy, and for maintaining our housing stock. So it's kind of an affordability program as well, because if you have lower utility costs, it helps your bottom line. So in 2017, there were 57 visits, and that included 6 visits to low-income households. We do subsidize those visits so that all people can participate, because there's a $50 fee normally that could be a barrier for some. So we do a variety of resource programs for folks to help them remodel, and we talked about our remodeling advisor, but we also offer architectural consultations, and I won't go over the details of that. I think you've heard that before, but it's a very successful program. It started out slow back in 2014. We had just 15 visits. This last year we had 45 visits. So big increase. Yeah, it's a popular program, and we see a lot of our transformation folks who have gone through this, a lot of our home tour folks, and it's just it's been successful in encouraging folks to remodel and to do it in a smart way. Asset management, maybe not the most exciting topic here, but it's an important one to note that the HRA has made enough loans to have a loan portfolio to manage. And so I went back and counted, just because I like to do those kinds of things. And since 1984, we've made over 750 loans. I think that's a lot to be proud of. 290 of them are still active, and so we have to do things like process subordinations and receive payoffs and deal with maturing loans. So we do a lot to promote all these programs that we just talked about, and so our events and outreach, some of the things that we do, as you know, our Realtor Workshop is very successful in the spring. We actually were limited to just 40 realtors because we decided to hold it at the Nature Center, but it's a very successful a way to showcase Richfield and all that it does to our area realtors. We also work with the Garden Club on the garden tour, and we participate in open streets. And then one of our new favorites marketing activities is our renovation celebration home tour. This last year we held it on October 7th, and we featured 6 remodeled homes. We had over 400 visitors. We did a citywide mailing, which also gets the word out about our programs, and we increased our number of sponsors of the program to 6, and that included builders as well as a lender, CEE, and an area realtor. So we're excited about the continued excitement about the tour. And as I showed on that earlier slide, that we do things for homeownership as well as rental housing. So creating new rental housing has been a focus of redevelopment activity the past few years, as Melissa showcased. But preserving and improving our existing rental housing stock, as well as providing assistance to renters, both have also been a part of the HRA's mission for many years. And I would say it gained renewed interest and energy in 2017. And one of the ways we did that was in September, Aon, a nonprofit housing, affordable housing developer, purchased the 420-unit Seasons Park complex, and the HRA provided $150,000 in purchase assistance to ensure that affordability would be maintained. And then the complex will be rehabilitated over time. So the City Council, along with the HRA, also spent a lot of time in 2017 considering our existing naturally occurring affordable housing, or NOAA housing, and how we could maintain and improve that housing while still maintaining affordability and protecting our existing renter residents. So one important step that we took as an HRA in 2017, or as an EDA, was to budget $100,000 for apartment remodeling. So next year, hopefully we'll have some success to report on that. So the other thing that we do, and this will be the last thing, sorry, this is getting long, but we do a lot, is we actually offer rental assistance to our low-income renters. And we do that in two ways. The first is through the federal Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. And that's where we provide rental assistance for households earning less than 50% of the area median income. And we served 267 households through this federal program in 2017. And I think we always like to point out that Richfield is somewhat unique, given its small size, that we locally administer this program. And we're very proud of how well we manage that program and how we work with both owners and clients to make sure that the program is successful within the sometimes very strict confines of federal regulations. But then our other program to brag about, that we like to brag about, is our Kids at Home program, which is our locally funded rental assistance program. And this is a program that we get to design the way we want. We don't have to listen to those federal guidelines. And so we provide rent assistance for up to 4 years. And we do it to working families. We want to encourage folks to work and to increase their income without having it affect what their rent assistance is. And then we also pair it with social support services. And we do that through an organization called People with Capes right now. And so they offer programming called Parent Share. And Kids at Home recipients are expected to attend a certain number of those meetings throughout the year. They're held at Loaves and Fishes, and they include childcare, and they are topics like budgeting and parenting and other resources for folks. And so it's been it's actually been a very popular component of the program. Folks tend to go more than they're required to go because they find them very valuable. And in May, we actually had our first Parents' Day celebration for our Kids at Home folks, and they were very appreciative of, we honored them for all the hard work they do. A lot of them single parents, some of them grandparents being parents again, and we wanted to honor them, and that was an important component. And kind of an unexpected outcome of the Parent Share meetings has been community building. So the Kids at Home folks are really creating a community and finding support with each other. So again, it's all, it's about supporting our working families that have children in Richfield schools, and it's really a stability program, but self-sufficiency is often a result too at the end of it. So we served 23 families in 2017. And so much of what we do is bricks and mortar, and this more feel-good stuff, maybe we don't celebrate as much. So I'm going to end with a quote from one of our Kids at Home participants. And we actually have several testimonials from folks wanting to say thank you to you for the program. And I think I'll just share most of that in a memo. So I just wanted to share this little snippet from one of our clients. When I moved to Richfield, I wanted a better life for myself and my son. I wanted stability, and I wanted a nice home. We have had 5 years living in the same apartment complex, all because of the Kids at Home program. Please continue to keep the Kids at Home program alive and well. It does make a difference, and the impact can be felt among the community. So any questions for any of us? We're happy to.
Well, thank you for all of that information. There's a lot of really great programs. Do we have any questions?
I have no question. Just a statement of it's amazing to see it, all together and all the fantastic work. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Along the same lines, I think you mentioned that it seemed like it was going long. It felt like this was a longer report this year than previous years, but I think just because of all of the impressive work that's going on, it's busier. Does staff feel the same way, that it feels just like there's more activity going on in all realms? It just seems like it's a lot happening and all positive, so.
So I would just like to add that I feel tremendously fortunate to work with such a great group of people. And I think that, this community is fortunate to have them as resources. So thanks to all of you and the people behind the scenes that aren't here today.
Thank you again. Our next item is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any changes?
Is this where I can ask to remove the consent item off
Yes.
and for discussion?
All right, so the proposal is to do the agenda as printed, but to discuss the consent calendar item rather than pass it as a consent calendar.
I accept that as a friendly amendment.
All right. All in favor of that, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we've adopted the agenda. So since we've removed the item from the consent calendar as a consent item, we would just like to go ahead and discuss it. So Mr. Stark, could you tell us about the resolution authorizing the purchase of 7300 Portland Avenue?
Yes, thank you, Chair Supple. And for those that might be following at home on the agenda, this is item number 5. The owner of 7300 Portland Avenue has expressed an interest in selling the property to the HRA. The 864 square foot house and detached one-car garage was appraised on behalf of the HRA at $155,000. That appraisal was just done within the last 30 days. A sale price of $141,000 was agreed upon with the seller. If approved, closing would occur by the end of next month. The small substandard structure has a non-conforming front setback and is a prime candidate for redevelopment under the new home program. Most of the homes in this area have a front yard setback of 31 feet from the property line. However, the home at 7300 Portland is set directly on the front property line on Portland Avenue, a 0-foot setback. And maybe if the AV person could put up the page marked aerial photo, 7300 Portland, that would be a good visual. Sorry, I lost my place. A partnership with Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity or the West Hennepin Affordable Housing Land Trust may be explored for future use of this home. The thinking is that currently the house could be either rented for the time being or could be demolished when we're ready to go forward with the new project. The reason we might prefer to wait is that if you were to look at the aerial photo, you'll see that the property to the south of this at 7304 Portland has the exact opposite issue. That was likely a garage house that was built at the very back of the lot. That is another property we have been keeping an eye on over the years. Ideally, the HRA would be able to buy both lots and redevelop the site together. With the house in question, staff did attempt to purchase this house in 2015. The property was listed through an auction and the HRA was unsuccessful in acquiring it at that time. An investor did purchase it, made some cosmetic improvements, and resold it. The house is now for sale again after only 2.5 years. The house was evaluated and determined to meet the structurally substandard criteria necessary for acquisition. The HRA would acquire the property for short-term holding, as I said. The only other thing I would add is, perhaps we wouldn't be looking at this same property, the same home situation if it was on Blaisdell or 13th Avenue. But when it's on one of our major arterials, we kind of look at that as one of the windows to Richfield. And so, again, we've been keeping our eye on this situation. So with that, we would stand for any questions you might have.
Commissioner Freeze Daniels?
Thank you. It's a lot of money, so I just wanted to have a conversation about it. And I think the additional context that you added is really helpful. I think my concerns are, as we talk about NOAA and housing prices have gone up, are we taking this house and tearing it down and not preserving some of that? You know, it is an affordable house.
Yeah, I'm 95% sure that this would be redeveloped under the new home program rather than under Richfield Rediscovered.
Okay.
And so it would be replacing a substandard affordable house with a new affordable house.
Okay. I think that helps.
You know,
Quite a bit for me.
I would add that it is more money than
Yeah.
we typically pay for properties.
The house next to it, are we just keeping an eye on it? I like the plan of combining them together since they are kind of an odd lot size or a smaller lot size.
Yeah, maybe either Julie or Kate have a follow-up comment on that. I'm not sure.
Well, so we tried to purchase it and they didn't sell to us several years ago, this other neighboring house. And there, again, some improvements have been made, which raises the price. Unfortunately, they're improving a house that's maybe not the quality that, you would like to see. So I doubt it'll be, we don't know when it would be for sale. This one, our inspector just predicted, she's like, oh, it's a flipper, it's going to be available soon. They didn't even, I think they bought it sight unseen, not even knowing that there was soon going to be a huge hole in front of there as they rebuilt Portland Avenue. And that, the house is practically on the sidewalk now. They bought it sight, and so she said, I can predict this is just going to turn over, and sure enough, that's what's happened.
And
The other house hasn't
Sure.
sold since then, and it's probably been 5 years, so we'll keep our eye on it.
And we're paying less than it was appraised for, but more than what it was purchased for.
Right.
A year ago.
The owner had to move out of state, and he saw the advantage to selling to us. No realtor and had to be involved, no point of sale, and just easier. He's out of state now, and so because we had said, well, our budget is that we can't pay $155,000, and so that's where we came to. He's the one who offered that amount, and we said, yeah, we can maybe make that work.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, Commissioner
I just have a
Zandel?
comment, and that is, over the years when we've, excuse me, purchased some of the small back of the lot houses and the houses that are clearly not desirable for anybody, really, and then replace them with more modern and more comfortable homes, larger homes. What you see in the neighborhood is people who look at that, and now they don't have this little tiny garage house on their block. They decide, oh, well, I could maybe do something to my house. I'm no longer next to this house that's not very attractive. And it does make a difference in terms of encouraging the other neighbors around there to do improvements as well. So I think it's a good program. I think it's worth pursuing.
Just one comment. I thought it was a very good question about the affordability piece of it, because our discussion on NOAA, it's beyond just rental. It's about home ownership as well. But it's great to hear that utilizing the new home program, this is a way to improve the quality of affordable housing, and hopefully affordable for perhaps maybe a Richfield renter purchased this and this is their first home in Richfield, and it's a quality, affordable home. And so, but I thought it was a good question and a good thing for us to consider when we're looking at these issues.
I would just add that we like to work with those organizations too that work with homeowners to set them up for success. So they provide training and support and other ways to really make them, homeownership's hard, so they help to make it successful for them.
So the determining factor of whether we rent this out or demolish it will be, we'll visit with our property management folks that help us with rental properties. We'll get their input. Maybe we'll test the market. It'd be my preference to rent it out as a holding situation, but if that's untenable, we'll look a different direction.
Would someone like to move the item?
I'll also move.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve a resolution authorizing the purchase of 7300 Portland Avenue. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. We've approved the item. Next, we're going to move on to item number 5, which is a public hearing in consideration of the approval of a resolution authorizing the sale of 6345 Bloomington Avenue to Endress Custom Homes and the approval of a contract for private development with Endress Custom Homes for the construction of a single-family home through the Richfield Rediscovered program. Mr. Stark.
Thank you, Chair Supple. I'm going to ask Housing Manager Urban to give the staff report. Thank you.
Chair Supple and members of the HRA, in this instance, Endress Custom Homes is applying to purchase the lot at 6345 Bloomington Avenue from the HRA for the construction of a single-family home. The new home would be a 2-story home with 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and a finished basement, and a 2-car attached garage. The new home will be 2,135 finished square feet with a minimum end value of just under $325,000. So the builder has worked extensively with the HRA to ensure compliance with sound attenuation standards, design guidelines, and building requirements to find a proposal that is feasible for both the Richfield Rediscovered program and the builder. As you may remember, Endress was approved by the HRA to purchase 4 Richfield Rediscovered in this area in December and January, and so he's seeking now to purchase this final lot, and he does have a buyer for the lot. And just to add that in doing multiple homes, he was able to reduce his costs and to help also with the finances of building in this area because values are not quite as high as in other areas of the town. In order to make the new home viable on the lot, staff is recommending a discounted lot sale price of $37,725 to account for some of those additional costs, primarily the required window and sewer line improvements. If you have any questions, since this is the same design that we've been seeing, it sounds awfully familiar, but if there's something that we're missing, we did try to, I think last time, Commissioner Daniels had some questions about design, and so we did add some additional information about how we feel like this house and this design does meet our guidelines. But if you have any questions, we're open for that.
So are there any questions before we open the public hearing? All right, well, hearing none, since this is a public hearing, is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment? All right, it does not look like there's anyone in the audience that would like to comment. So at this point, we need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, is there any objection to that? All right, all in favor of closing the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we've closed the public hearing. Are there any further questions or comments?
Does the retaining wall have to come down? Does that all get regraded? Kind of a random question, but
Thank you. Sorry, no, I was having microphone issues. He will have to move that, yes. Now, what he's showing on the plan here hasn't been vetted by engineering yet, so we'll see how that works out. They'll have to approve that.
All right, would someone like to move the items?
so moved.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? All right, the items under consideration that have been moved are approval of a resolution authorizing the sale of 6345 Bloomington Avenue to Endress Custom Homes and authorizing execution of a contract for private development between the Housing and Redevelopment Authority and Endress Custom Homes for the redevelopment of 6345 Bloomington Avenue. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. Our next item is consideration of a settlement of a Housing and Redevelopment Authority deferred loan at 6500 Woodlake Drive, unit number 405. Mr. Stark.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Housing Specialist Kate Aitchison is going to be presenting this staff report. Thank you.
In 2016, Joanne Dominguez, our homeowner, was issued a Richfield Rehabilitation Deferred Loan in the amount of $18,463 for her condominium located at 6500 Woodlake Drive. The funds were used to install new windows and complete repairs to the plumbing and electrical systems of her home. In October of 2017, the homeowner became too ill to remain living in her home on her own and moved into assisted living. She now needs to sell her assets to pay for assisted living. She has a signed purchase agreement for the sale of her condo for $68,000, which is less than the amount of debt owed against the property. She's asking the HRA to forgive a portion of its lien in order to complete the sale and avoid foreclosure. And I can answer any questions. We also have a representative here for the homeowner.
All right, are there any questions? All right, we have no questions. I will move to approve a proposal made by the representatives of the owner of 6500 Woodlake Drive, Unit 405, for a settlement of $18,463.49, a deferred loan, for settlement of that deferred loan in the amount of $1,800. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I would just say, as we give out these loans, this is a risk we take, and I'm happy that we can help her move on and live her life.
All right. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Thank you. Next, we have HRA discussion items. Does anyone have anything they would like to discuss?
I don't know if this is HRA, the Champions in Therapy, I've talked to them over the last couple of weeks. Are we involved at all in negotiations with the dentist office on the end of that block to see if we can make that work?
We haven't been. We haven't been asked to become involved. So I'm not sure what our role is. I would have to think about that, and maybe there is a role for us.
I do know that he was unapproachable, and there's been at least contact made, communications ongoing. Have we quoted the owners of Champions prices on the two lots of ours that they're anticipating getting on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Our lots, I believe, appraised for a combined total of $250,000.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to know if that was moving along.
Yeah, we've met with them since the work session. I believe we've met with them twice. And I think we've been pretty open with them that we're willing to help out wherever they need us to.
Okay,
And so I think they would approach us if they saw opportunities.
great, thank you.
Cool. Commissioner Sandal?
I recall talking with the developer at that meeting, and my understanding was that their thing will go forward with or without the dentist. The dentist can stay put, and they would just not have that as part of the building.
Right. And, I think that they would prefer,
Right.
and probably we would prefer that the entire block be redeveloped, but I don't think it's a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question on something on the claims and payroll. Do you want me to wait until that item, or can I ask it now?
Madam Chair, you're the chair, so you can ask whenever you'd like.
Well, I noticed, if you could just refresh my memory, it said that there was a sizable expenditure for the Lindell Garden Center site improvement. Has that already been done, or is that in progress? I think it was $435,000, if I remember correctly.
Yes. So how that works is we will be paying the contractor to do a great deal of site work, a great deal of soil excavation. So we're asking you for a check, as you said in over 450,000, we will hold on to that check until we get the reimbursement check from the Minnesota Department of Economic Development. That is a grant. So we are just a pass-through on
Okay.
this. So this money's not actually coming from the HRA.
Okay, that helps clarify. Thank you so much.
Huge sigh of relief.
Yeah, well, I just thought it was a lot of money.
Whoa.
All right, are there any other discussion items? All right, then we'll move on to the executive director's report.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Sometimes there's some overlap between the things that the HRA does and the things that the city council does and the things that the EDA does. I just wanted to give you a heads up on a couple of actions that are going to be going before the city council in the next few weeks. At the February 27th meeting, the city council will be considering a facade improvement grant program for the Penn Avenue area that would provide grants of $1,250 to $7,500 for people to make visible improvements to their properties along Penn. It's from the crosstown down to 68th Street. That the grant would pay half of the cost. The business owner would pay the other half. It's not a loan. There's no repayment required. So again, that will be going to the city council next week.
Can't swing that up 66th Street at all, can you?
Let me see. It does swing around a little bit.
That's close.
Not quite far enough.
Okay, I just thought I'd check.
Try, nice try.
Does that require them to follow the Penn Avenue guidelines?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And when it goes to the city council, you'll be able to pull up the agenda that has the guidelines that give a great deal of detail on those kinds of questions. Also, next week is the first reading of an ordinance, and the second reading would be March 13th to provide building fee permit reductions for affordable housing. It would be a 5% permit fee reduction for new construction and a 10% permit fee for rehabilitation of affordable housing. It'd be capped at $10,000 per project for a 2-year period. That's, I think, a reflection of the discussions we've had on affordable housing. A couple of things, and not to be a broken record, but historically as a community, we preferred to be to entice people rather than restrict people. And this is reflective of that. So again, we'll see how the city council responds, but we're hopeful that that will go through. And that's my report.
All right, thank you. Okay, our next item is claims and payroll.
So moved.
Second.
All right, is there any further discussion or are there any other questions? All right, all in favor of approving claims and payroll, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you.